And hi guys, and welcome to this live stream, live discussion of the Mechanicum, this book that I was sitting on for quite a while. So I'm very excited that I finally have the time to do this live stream since I can now live stream. And yeah, it's just one of those things that really fascinate me, and it's like a passion project, passion stream, whatever you wish that you can call it, something that I really want to talk about. And we are just gonna touch on some particular aspects of the book that to me, stood out the most. Now, for those of you that are going to watch this recorded, I'm going to put timestamps after the stream, particular chapters, and you can just click on whatever you're interested in. But with that being said, guys, I want to say a very warm welcome to my lovely chat. So hi to everybody, dear Ivy, dear Clayton, Dark is here, absolutely awesome. Vaughn, Patrick, hi to you guys. Okay, thank you very much. I'm using OBS, so like I said in the previous yesterday's Necromunda gameplay coverage, have to get used to it, so it's gonna be more smooth, I hope, as time passes. So, guys, let us start. I prepared because, firstly, I do have to get some things out of the way. So all the books, Warhammer books that I can, get my hands on, they're all audio form. And I put some notes when I listen to them so I can, play those notes so you can know exactly what I'm talking about. I literally only have time for audiobooks because I can combine that with doing other things, training, meal prepping, all of that. I literally do not have the physical time to sit and read the book and so on. So a lot of you know this, but I feel for maybe new viewers to say it. So all the books of the Heresy, Horus Heresy, and in general, whatever books I can get are gonna be audio, and that is how I'm gonna consume them. Now, Jesus, the Mechanicum book is like my 11th book now, basically. And next, have to see what is next. But yeah, I do have my list that is at, my Discord, Golden Astartes. You can check the link down below if you haven't joined that. So there's a section there that I'm writing what I'm reading, reading right now, and what I'm about to read. All of that. I had to switch actually for like maybe 3 weeks just to totally different book. David Goggins' book Can't Hurt Me, because it's just totally different thing. I just prefer to switch a bit with something like that. And I'm gonna get back to Warhammer once again. Oh, thank you very much for the link. Okay. Has some audiobooks. Well, for now, I do have, thanks to dear Clayton, I have all the, Horus Heresy books, and I do prefer to continue with that. At some point, I have to get through Eisenhorn before the show comes out, so that is very important for me. And yeah, I have to go by a priority, guys. Okay, so the Mechanicum, there are, interesting things, very interesting things, some revealing things about the Emperor here, and of course, in their parts of the universe, Mars, how they contributed to the whole thing. That is all very fascinating. Whatever I'm going to talk about now and discuss about the Emperor, about previous things that I said about the Emperor, always going to be based on this book because we are talking about this book. So if ever something else was, because I'm just saying that because, a lot of you are telling me like, well, the Emperor here is described this way, and then there's that, and different writers wrote them in different ways. Okay, absolutely. But here we're just gonna talk about this book. So, whatever conclusions, once again, I reach about him in particular, it's just gonna be based on this book and this book only. So, that doesn't mean that it's set in stone. I'm just gonna talk about how this book presents things. So, this book also has one of those things that are very interesting to me, and that is, I mean, those things are the connections between uh, esoteric knowledge and how that is interpreted in Warhammer, because, Warhammer just takes a lot of that and implements it into the story. How things work, even, is not the same, but there are some very close, comparison that could be made. And here, actually, there's one of the most interesting out of all, and those are the Akashic Chronicles. I hope that I'm not mistaken how they were portrayed here, but we're gonna hear it anyway. With my notes in the book. DS, hi to you too. A Dragon of Mars. Yes, I'm gonna check the comments from time to time, but because this is a live stream, my thought, and I cannot edit myself, my thought could be, I mean, I'm gonna try to, not interrupt my own self, and of course, then I'm gonna check your comments. So, I prepared the book right here and the notes. But yeah, before we get to the notes, what did I think about the book overall? This is not like my favorite out of all the books that I went through so far. The first books were a bit more fascinating to me, and some other aspects, storytelling, like, just more thrilling. There's a lot of technical aspects, pun not intended, but yeah, there's a lot of details about the Mechanicum and how they work and how they separated in their ideals. Adept Z, sorry, it's a bit of a interesting word in English for me to pronounce. She was pretty amazing character. I really loved her. Uh, I mean, really fascinating, because she's thinking out of the box. She really had some balls to her. I mean, some courage, some real strength, and all of that. I really enjoy her character and how, the world was built, how the Mechanicum taught, all of those things just really fascinating. Only just the smallest of details of some of the descriptions were not like the most interesting thing ever. You can easily get lost and just lose their train of thought when you listen to about the particular things. But for the most part, this whole world building was pretty fascinating. It's one of the most original things that I ever heard in general from any universe. So the Mechanicum, they're always interesting to um, understand. I mean, to just know about, and the way that they, some of them did care about others, about Dahlia in particular. That I'm talking about this other main female character, besides Adapt Z. Pretty amazing. Yeah, I really love that. So, although it's not exactly my favorite, you can say there's some things that are just too good, and I have not encountered them yet compared to the other books. Now, what is ahead is totally different story, like I've said, but what is in this book, um, so many things that are worth talking about. It's pretty awesome. The Dragon of Mars, too. You're gonna get to the Dragon of Mars. Uh, Oh, thank you very much, dear Clayton, for this. Thank you. Okay, so with that out of the way, like overall, what I thought about the book, let's get to the first note that I made in the book.
Set in motion. The schemes we.
Sorry. Okay. So the first note, it's like 15 minutes in the book, as far as I can see here. Okay, let's hear it.
The Emperor had built his world on the bones of this long-buried science, and, unwilling to share it, had fought the soldiers of Mars and hurled them back to the Red Planet before traveling to Mars in the guise of the Omnissiah and a peacemaker, albeit a peacemaker who came at the head of an army of conquest. The peace that was offered was illusory, a conceit designed to conceal a darker truth. The Emperor offered peace with one hand, while keeping a dagger behind his back with the other. In reality, the Emperor's offer was an ultimatum. Join with me, or I will simply take what I need from you. Faced with a choice that was no choice at all, Kelbor Hal had been forced to bargain away the autonomy of Mars and become a vassal planet of Terra. These are great gifts indeed, said.
Okay, so that's the first note of the book that I want to, you know, comment on. So yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward, at least here, how the emperor is presented. That it's he he works this way. It's like an ultimatum, whatever he said, with one knife behind his back. Just very good, like representation of what I think about the emperor. Anyway, in general, of course, guys. Once again, I'm just gonna say that once more. That doesn't mean that I cannot change my mind in the future, just depends on what I learn, whether or not Games Workshop somehow like come out and like clearly say Emperor is this or that, or he's this way or that way. But just for now, I think that it's a pretty good description for now. Pretty good. I'm just, on that side of things. So I like how that sounds. So basically, the Emperor was like, your resources, you work for me. Well, that's it. Simpler terms. Now, I'm gonna check the next note just a sec.
Illusory. A conceit designed to conceal a darker truth.
Yeah, a darker truth. Exactly what I was saying, actually.
A truth. The Emperor offered peace with one hand while keeping a dagger behind his back with the other.
Yep. Okay, so next point.
Lupercal has given me an answer that I believe will satisfy you. And that is? Asked Malevolus. Regulus seemed to swell within his robes. The War Master will lift all restrictions on research into the forbidden technologies. To that end, I bring the protocols that will unlock the vaults of Moravec.
Yeah, basically, there was this vault with pretty cool stuff in it, basically. But it was forbidden to get to it, so they reached this agreement with Horus. Here, I just want to, basically talk about how this is very interesting that they have the possibility to maybe develop, but they're like restricted to stick to what they already have as technology and all of that, which Adad Zeph was, against. She wanted to not have this dogma and be free to basically understand more. Yeah, in simpler terms.
A heavy silence descended on the gathered adepts, as the weight of the War Master's offer hung in the air like a promise too good to be true.
Yeah, that's it about this. Going to the next point, but first, let's see what your guys are saying. Okay, thanks for that. Code, Codemon. Well, yes, Dark. Yes, that's what I'm saying. The slow game. Well, as you can see, the Mechanicum are really two types, mainly. The ones that do not mind to be restricted, and the ones that prefer to develop. Okay, let's see that.
Such things, and as you develop your abilities, you will see more and more of the information that surrounds you. The ether, said Caxton. That sounds dangerous. To the untutored mind, it can be, said Zeth, moving to stand beside the golden throne. It is a realm of thought and emotion that exists outside of the physical realm. But with the proper development, your gift will allow us to reach further into the realms of knowledge than ever before. We will be able to read the Akashic records, a repository of information imprinted on the very fabric of the universe, a wellspring of every thought, action, and deed that has ever existed or ever will exist. It is what allowed the ancient cultures of old Earth to build their impossible monuments and learn of things forgotten by later generations.
Okay, that is one of the most fascinating things. So I don't know if you ever have been interested in esoteric, knowledge and all of that. Once again, as I said before, that doesn't mean believe it or not, and that's not the point. The point is that it is used as a source here, and the Akashic Chronicles are actually exactly what she said. Yeah, I mean, this is the closest thing that it's adapted from esoteric knowledge and put into Warhammer, and that is what it fascinates me because it's not common knowledge. I mean, you can go and search for it. Of course, everybody can learn about what these are, although you do have to be careful with the source because, well, that's complicated topic on its own. But yeah, it's something that you can always find out what it is, but it's not like every human being, knows these things. So it's very interesting that they implemented that here. I was like, what? Really? I mean, I never, at least I never seen the Akashic Chronicles being, mentioned in anything else that's fantasy, sci-fi, whatever. I just haven't heard that. Not yet. Even not similar things. So basically, the Akashic Chronicles are, yeah, I mean, the knowledge of everything that there was, there will be, all lives of everyone that ever lived, human interactions, fate, just so many. Like it's literally the knowledge of all things about the whole history goes, um, meaning of existence, everything. So that is just extremely fascinating to me.
Generations. Dahlia felt her heart race at the thought of learning such things. The flow of information that had come to her station in the Hall of Transcriptions now seemed a paltry thing next to the prospect of being able to know every scrap of knowledge the universe contained. She had the feeling that Zeth wasn't telling them everything about the ether, but her desire for knowledge outweighed any thoughts of the danger. This device, said Dahlia, standing before the man on the throne.
The ether, by the way. Uh, the ether, yeah, one of those things that was again are adapted from esoteric knowledge, but here they're totally different. This is where things just totally not implemented in that one-to-one way. Well, nothing can be implemented or should be, I'm just not, yeah, I'm just saying this is very different from what the ether is from esoteric knowledge. That's why I wanted to do that video about all the things that are like or not like the esoteric knowledge between Warhammer, because and that, because it's just so there's so many there's just so many, but because we are meeting with those two, that's why I'm commenting on it. So yeah, the ether is like the closest, it's very hard to describe, but is the closest other realm of existence to the material realm of existence, is the lowest point, I mean the closest point to us, and is basically like a non-physical copy of the physical world to an extent. So yeah, just simpler things. Okay, next, or actually let's see what else.
Or the man on the throne. It's meant to tap into this ether and read information.
Yeah, basically, if you tap into the ether, you're gonna find like information literally recorded, uh, like the spiritual hard drive, you can say.
Information. That is exactly its purpose, agreed Zeth. So why isn't it working? Zeth hesitated, and Dahlia saw the adept's reluctance to admit to the limits of her achievements. Knowledge is power. Guard it well. It is the mantra of the Mechanicum, and with great knowledge comes great power. But neither great knowledge nor great power come without sacrifice. Sacrifice, said Zoosh. Don't like the sound of that one bit. The ether can be a realm of great danger.
Yeah, that is 40K stuff now. Okay. But it's great world building, no matter what they decided to adapt or not adapt. Okay, let's see next. What's next?
Just a man. His mastery of technology and his refutation of superstition and religion should be a shining beacon guiding the union of the Imperium and Mechanicum towards the future. But many on Mars are willfully blind to this, determined to ignore the evidence before them. Instead, they embrace their blind faith in an ancient, non-existent god closer to their chest than ever before. As Zeth spoke, Dahlia watched her become more and more animated, the neutrality of her body language giving way to passionate animation. The miniature servo skulls attached to her shoulder plugs stood erect, and the biometrics on her manipulator arms flashed urgently. What is now proved was once only ever imagined, but only a fool relies on faith, said Zeth. Trust in facts and empirical evidence. Do not be swayed by passion or rhetoric without proof and substance. As long as we are free to ask what we must, free to say what we think, and free to think what we will, science can never regress. It is my great regret that we live in an age that is proud of machines that think, and suspicious of people who try to. Trust what you know, and that which can be proven. Do you understand?
That is pretty good, what she said there. Trust in machines, but not in people. Basically, very, very, very good. So I do like how she thinks, because once again, to suppress anything, any types of development, will not lead to development. So yeah, there's that. Okay, there's just a few more things. We're gonna get to the dragon and that truth, so to speak, that is revealed when Dahlia goes to, well, the dragon.
Say what we think, and free to think what we will.
Yeah.
Day he would need such a mighty organization to serve him, and from the dragon's dreams came the first machines of the priests of Mars. Without the dragon there would have been no Mechanicum, and without the Mechanicum the Emperor's grand dream of a united galaxy for humanity would have withered on the vine. Dahlia tried to grasp the unimaginable scale of the Emperor's designs, the clarity of a vision that could set schemes in motion that would not come to fruition for over 20,000 years. It was simply staggering that anyone, even the Emperor, could have so carefully and precisely orchestrated the destiny of so many with such skill and cold ruthlessness. The scale of the deception was beyond measure, and the callousness of it took her breath away. To lie to so many people, to twist the destiny of a planet to suit one man's aims, even a being as lofty as the Emperor, was a crime of such monstrous proportions that Dahlia's mind shied away from that awful calumny.
Yep.
If the truth of this became known.
Yeah, basically that's one of the shocking things, and that the Emperor just like took all the credit and said, "I'm the Omnislayer, guys." Yeah, just imagine what that speaks of him. I mean, it's very. Once again, we'll see later on when I get to a lot more stuff about the Emperor, but it's really hard to imagine that something can like justify how he's acting, but I know that you're gonna say that I'm not right. At least some of you. I'm just saying, once again, this is based on so far what I know. I cannot speak of things that I don't know, just for now. But this book just hammers on the Emperor pretty hard in a lot of ways and basically exposes his ways of thinking and actions. Pretty straightforward. So, yeah, that's just all that I'm saying. Now, we do have one more. So let's just check your comments. Hey, Michael, hi to you. Chaos is only one part of the warp, or Imperium, you mean? Or Imperium, or whatever you wish to call it. The warp is much more than just chaos. I have not mentioned the warp, actually. It holds many different aspects of emotion and thought. Well, the ether basically, Adam Zev tried to say that that's the warp. But I'm just saying what's the difference between, esoteric knowledge and what she said. So that's just what I said. It doesn't mean that I am making those things to be the same, because they're totally not the same. Warp is, the warp is everything. It's not only one. I mean, it says really everything that's not material, basically, as a dimension. So that is totally different from what I was trying to compare and explain. Yeah, so I'm not actually talking about the warp in Warhammer. I talked about that 100 times. I was just commenting literally on what is the difference between esoteric knowledge and what is the ether. I mean, when it comes to the ether in Warhammer 40K, and this time what Adam Zeph was talking about. That's just what I meant because, just before that, I was talking about how the Akashic Chronicles are basically exactly what she described, but then the ether is totally different. Totally different in that same aspect from esoteric knowledge. That's just what I was saying. I just like to make this comparison because comparisons, because once again they're fascinating to make. That doesn't mean that Warhammer has to do anything, to copy and paste. But in this particular instance with the Akashic, damn it, I'm just thinking in Bulgarian, Akashico Chronicles, or Chronicles of Akasha, how they're mostly called, it's just very, very close. That's the only thing that is that close, I can say. That's pretty much, and it's one of the most not well known things, but it's the closest adaptation of that. So it just, yeah, fascinating to me, at least to me. That's just what I meant. Okay. Uh, oh, you were answering Dark. Okay. Okay. So let's continue to the final point now.
Semyon. He knew that one day he would need such a mighty organization to serve him, and from the dragon's dreams came the first machines of the priests of Mars.
Oh, that was the same.
Mars. Without the dragon, there would have been no Mechanicum, and without the Mechanicum, the Emperor's grand dream of a united galaxy for humanity would have withered on the vine.
Just imagine that. I mean, only this point actually you can think like the whole day on because it just speaks so much about the Emperor. So I don't know how in Games Workshop they are coordinating, the story and how the characters must be written, in particular the Emperor. I don't know how they're coordinating this. Do they want to directly say that he's this or that? I guess not. And some people did so far understand them differently that I do. There are some other people that are in 40K since it started and they agree with me. So who is right here? I guess we will know if that is confirmed somehow, some way, or maybe Games Workshop in the terms of Jesus. When it comes to the storytelling, they do not like to define things that clear. I don't know. I don't know. But there's literally both camps, both sides of the coin. I used to think at the beginning that the Emperor is the best thing since sliced bread, and he is very, very interesting. Just so interesting that just, yeah, super fascinating. In the same way, there's just so many other things that contradict that initial positive view that I had. But I understand how things are meant to be layered and layered, which is great. And well, whatever I say is just everybody's gonna have their own opinion. That is it. I mean, I'm gonna have this opinion for now and all of that. But as always, I'm just open to learning, open to change my opinion if something substantial comes out, or I keep reading the books. I mean, I'm gonna keep doing that. So um, one of the most anticipated books that I want to get to is the exactly that one book that focuses on the Emperor from the Horus Heresy. So I just can't wait to get to that book. But I first have to get to at least 10, at least maybe or 10 before that. But through the Mechanicum, through all of these books, you see different aspects of how the Horus Heresy happened, how the doubt in the ways of the emperor, how he does things, how that does bring some uh, yeah, I mean, well, doubt in other people, like other Zev that that wanted to just be free, to learn things. She didn't have actually any ill will. She just wanted to be free to learn, basically. Yeah. And Dahlia was in the right place in the right time, eventually becoming basically the protector of the dragon. That is very interesting. I mean, it was her destiny to do that. And although she didn't, she didn't feel in the beginning what was she supposed to do, her destiny and events just led her on to this point. So it's fascinating how this whole thing is written. There's always things that you can like draw from it, and that is what I love about 40K. That is extremely layered. Is a lot more layered than anything else that I ever encountered as a fantasy, sci-fi, whatever series. So, um, one of the most substantial info for sure in this book. Not the best book, is in general, not the most entertaining book, but certainly one of the most like yeah, very very like how to perfectly describe this detailed particular facts, you can say, or straight out descriptions of how the emperor does things, how the mechanicum think, live, augment themselves, about the history basically of that dragon, what the emperor did to it, and even that source of all knowledge that are the Akashic Chronicles. And making a device for that to read that, very, very interesting on its own. So yeah, a lot of things that could be said, but well, anything that gives me, food. I'm really hungry in this time of night. Um, just because, yeah, I haven't eaten a lot today. Anyway, I'm fasting, so I'm not gonna eat. The point is, food for thought. Anything that gives me food for thought, I appreciate it very much, very much. So, last words from you guys, and then I'm gonna have to close the stream. So let's see if you have anything to say. Now is the time. Uh, oh, that's great that you know that, Michael. Like I said, not many people do, and it's been my I don't know how to explain it. My like full drive and nature since I was a baby to learn about, well, everything like that I could. So you can say that I started studying these things before kindergarten. I know it kind of sounds weird, but it just what it yeah, it's just my natural interest. Literally, I have a lot, but the unknown, unseen things are always being a part of me some way, somehow. And I just love knowing more, studying them. But to this point, I kind of have like a few um, diplomas on this, more than some people like ever have on anything. So I'm pretty content. There's always more. There's just endless amount of information, but for now, I'm pretty okay with where I'm at in this point. Okay, so let's see what you're saying. I'm just gonna read what you're saying. So, and yeah, for those of you that watch this record, you can always enable the chat to repeat so you can know what I'm referring to, of course. So, Vaughn, You are saying thus he is able to know what kind of knowledge is dangerous and what kind of safe. What kind is safe, since his only goal is to achieve his plan. It is perfectly fine for him to dismiss cultural societal elements. Well, maybe it's perfectly fine for him. That doesn't mean that that's the best way to do things, you know. Restricting knowledge from people so you can control things easier is not exactly the most, uh, well, good thing to do, objective thing to do. Yeah, it's okay. I'm just gonna leave it here. It's not like the most moral things maybe to do. There's, of course, some people in general that will not get everything, and it's not good to just tell them everything, of course. But in a lot of ways, how the emperor works doesn't strike me as very honest. Yeah, let's put it that way. Okay, let's read that. So Michael says the emperor being somewhere around the 37,000 years old mark, and being so much more powerful and having an intelligent tens, if not hundreds of times that of an average person, doesn't surprise me. I don't know. I mean, I am considering all of those things always, but the ways that he's acting, there's a lot of stuff that could have been done better that, some regular human could figure out. But he did like screw totally things up. I mean, things that are logical, and especially from psychological perspective, if you treat certain people a certain way, they may have some doubts about how you rule, and this is exactly what happened. He didn't actually try to smear things up like too much. People just had their logical doubts about how he's ruling and how he does things. So, if he wanted to prevent all of that with all of that intelligence, he could have done things more differently, even manipulated people in a better way so they are still convinced that what he's doing is right for everybody, but he didn't actually do that. So there were already enough seeds of doubt that were present in some parts of his ranks and humanity, and that just made the Horus heresy split into the two camps not that hard. There was already seeds of doubt planted before that. Yeah, I mean, once again, I've talked about this a lot of times. So his intelligence is not that well showcased as is explained that it's great, like super great. I mean, they say that, wow, it's like we can't even imagine how genius he is, and all of a sudden you see, well, he did also this that was not very smart, and this and this. There are just endless amounts of examples after that, so it's kind of hard to hold on to this and not question it. Everything, like that Zev said, should be questioned, and not followed blindly at all. After talking all this time, I just have to drink water. Okay. Um. Okay. So, Patrick, hi to you. Auto riding is based on taping the Akashic record. No, not really. Not really. Auto riding is I don't know if I should get into this topic, but it's not something you want to happen to you, because you're not supposed to, your motor functions to write anything is not supposed to be taken in control of someone else at all. It's like invasion of your personal being, so to speak. It's not good. Okay. I'm not supposed to talk about these things on the stream. I'm gonna do a special one for that. And let's not forget that this, like I've said, is absolutely endless. And if I talk about any context, I'm not doing any of this justice at all. So it just not, it doesn't do anything if there's no context. You have to know so many things and how things supposedly work to understand what I'm even referring to. So yeah, better not get into that. Let's stick to just like casual comparisons and what is actually in 40k. Ah, okay. Oh, by the way, is the dragon a Ketan? I think when I started 40k lore, those are one of the first things that I encountered, that he was a Ketan. If he is, he must be more powerful than, I don't know, should be more powerful than the Emperor, but how did the Emperor defeated him in the first place then? That part is a bit fuzzy to me, that particular part. You can help me with that, if you like. Hmm. Dragon made deal with the Emperor. Kind of sounded like the Emperor just incon... well, damn it. Incapacitated him, and after that he was just able to hold him somehow with some kind of a power, and yeah, he's stuck there on Mars. Brought him to Mars because if he was able to get away, he would, but he's probably like in some way so hurt that he can't. I assume by this book and in general what I heard about him. Mm. Oh yeah, he should have learned more patience. I mean, usually when people live, if they're smart, they actually reach wisdom because they don't have to get to the worst points and make the same mistakes over and over again in order for them to take a lesson and finally freaking learn. No, and that is how you reach wisdom. So if you live for that long, you should have gotten through every possible scenario, probably, at least if he wished to learn a lot and to be in shoes of people. He can learn human psychology from so many angles. He can witness humanity growing in intelligence, actually, growing in understanding. All of those things for him, it's gonna be like an outside look of development. It's gonna be amazing. So he should be so wise from this, unbelievably wise, but yet he displays qualities of every warlord, sorry, that I ever encountered in other things, basically. So that is one of the issues that I see, in how his character is written, because the same things that I seen about so many more characters that are supposed to be conquerors or, well, like I said, warlords. He has all of those qualities in all the same way, so I don't see how that is logical. And they're all normal. I mean, they lived one life that is short enough, shorter than actually most people, because they just get killed at the end because they're asses. But yeah, you know what I mean. He's not written as what he is written to be, at least so far, what I encountered. Okay. No, I don't mean possession. No, possession is different, actually. Much worse. Much worse, believe me. But it's still not good. That is also something. Still not good. Hi, John. Johnny. What else, guys? He's a shard of one. If that's true, that would explain why he's not all powerful as a Kitan would be if he's just a shard of one. Okay, that makes sense. Have not checked it, but it does make sense on the surface. Hmm. No, Michael is more complicated than that, and it's not about belief, really. It's not about belief. You just have to spend years upon years to research things, and you see, you actually see at the end, at some point, if you're interested enough. But not everybody are for this, so I wouldn't say go for it. Mm, okay. Hmm. That part about the Necrons, I think I missed that part. Okay. Was only a short system and what is that? Ah, this point because I was expecting major plot development regarding Mars. Well, I guess like I said, he has to be a shard because otherwise how you're gonna explain that the Emperor can defeat the freaking full-fledged Catan, whereas other beings that are more powerful, arguably, than the Emperor cannot deal with them. So I think that at least makes sense from that aspect. Okay, guys, so that's gonna be it for this book reflections. This is how I chose to name this because that is what it is. Just the most, for me, fascinating parts of the book and talking about those. Food for thought for everyone, I hope. So you can always share your thoughts down below and let me know what you think. Star God. Yeah, that's another topic on its own. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support me, as you know, you can check out my OnlyFans, where you make meaningful sex educational videos, plus fitness and health, and my original art with the Emperor, the Imperio uh, sigil with the freaking, halo and, well, awesome spikes. That is what I can say. But yeah, links to everything, guys, is down below. Yeah, yes. Oh, I just love my intro. Okay. I'm just clicking stuff to this point. It's 11 something p.m. here. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, Resident Evil 8. Today is my name day actually, which in Bulgaria means that if you're named after someone that is like a saint or flowers or depending on just the particular day, you have a name day and that's like almost as big as a birthday. So since I'm named after Saint George, yeah, today is Saint George Day here in Bulgaria. And for my name day, I got two things as a gift. One was Res 8, Res Divo 8, and the other is Necromunda, who I have to thank. The amazing Primarch of mine, one of the three Apple Killer. So thanks to him, I'm gonna also mention that when we reach that part. So I'm covered for this Warhammer game, and I cannot wait to stream it when it comes out. I think was it on June 1st. I'm extremely excited. The best thing that you can ever give me basically are, well, something to do with fitness and games, or an audiobook actually. Warhammer audiobook is also good. Oh, okay. Let me focus on that. Solas has up a Warhammer 40 looping test. Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I gotta check that. In Poland is the same. You have names days. Oh, yeah, that's great. Regarding birthdays, generally shift from birthdays to name days when you get too old. Oh no, no. Here everybody has a name day, no matter if you're old or young. It doesn't matter. Just celebrate both days. The difference with mine is that it's a national holiday and most people do not work. And there's always a military parade in the center of Sofia, which is our capital. It's just, yeah, military celebration because, Saint George is like the symbol of warriors, basically. So yeah. Um. Oh well, I hope it's interesting. Well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. No, my name is not Gabriela. Um. 1 minute and 27 seconds. I will check that. Dark. Thank you for being my faster than YouTube update on everything Warhammer that's coming out. Thank you for that. Yeah, my name is Gergana, actually, and Gary is the natural abbreviation, a form that's meant to be endearing, so nobody calls me, with my long name. Everybody just calls me Gary. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope that you enjoy this. Kisses and hugs. If you'd like to also help me, you can just share this video to other Warhammer fans, guys, and just, yeah, that's gonna really help me out. Click the like button, all of those wonderful things. Till next time, let me get reviews. Have an awesome coming weekend, and stay tuned for tomorrow's fun time. Bye, guys.